seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat that I ain't taking, son.
So this is, Sabacc?
Sabacc.
What is up, fellow scoundrels and card players? Welcome back to another episode of Sabacc the Block. I am here as usual with Emma Fyffe, but joining us also today we have Miss Lacey Gilleran from Resistance Broadcast. Hi, Lacey.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good to have you on. How are you feeling today?
I'm good as I'm gonna be with 2020 part 2.
Sure. I just want to share that Lacey and I discovered. So number one, Lacey grew up in a town very close to the town that I grew up in, but she actually lives in the town that I grew up in, which is wild to me.
It's crazy.
Because anytime you ask somebody, you're like, oh, somebody tells me, they're like, oh, I live in Connecticut or I'm from Connecticut. And I always say, oh, where in Connecticut are you from? And most of the time it's like, oh, New Haven, or
I was gonna say Farmington.
Yeah, exactly. So then the fact that you were like, oh yeah, Fairfield County, I was like, what?
That's so cool. Lacey, obviously you're from Resistance Broadcast, representing StarWarsNews.net. Just kind of give us a quick little rundown on what that podcast is, how it started, and kind of what your theme is.
Yeah, so I'm a part of the Resistance Broadcast. We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Kind of crazy, but it all started, John and James were on it before I joined. I joined in 2017, so we've been doing it for almost over 3 years now. And it started because they had people that worked with StarWarsNewsNet.com and then just wanted to talk about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And then I was working with John in marketing to do ads on their website, and he had mentioned to me, hey, have you ever talked about Star Wars before? And I was like, I mean, privately, sure, all the time, but out there, not really. So then I just joined, and it's been kind of history ever since.
Wow, that's so cool. A really quick background as far as your Star Wars story. Sure. Where does it begin, and how are you feeling now about Star Wars?
Yeah, so I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life, since about 6 or 7 years old. I found the VHS in Stu Leonard's here in Fairfield.
Oh my God, stop. Stu Leonard's, not to derail, has the best frozen yogurt on planet Earth. It's so really good. Is. It tastes just like soft serve ice cream. It's so good. Also, the way Stu Leonard's is laid out is kind of like an IKEA, where it kind of forces you to walk through all of the aisleways unless you know the shortcuts.
They have bigger shortcuts now. Fire Marshal made them put big ones, but yeah, there's animatronic cows and Twinkies.
Twinkie the Kid, yeah.
It's really fun. But
yeah, there's a chicken band.
It's really weird. But yeah, so they used to have a movie section at the end of the store right before you hit the registers, and I saw the VHS set for Star Wars, and I just said to my dad, what is this? And he was like, it's Star Wars. And I was like, I want it. And then that was it.
That's amazing. So you started with the VHS.
I did, of the original trilogy.
Which was around 97, I believe.
Yeah. It wasn't the special edition one. It was the OGs. It was the one with the George Lucas letter on the side. Right before the 97 special edition.
Right. Did you see the special edition re-releases in theaters?
I did not, but the first one I saw in theater was The Phantom Menace with my dad. And we left the theater, and I turned to him and I said, okay, but where was Luke Skywalker?
Oh,
and my dad was like, well,
honey. So your dad bought you the VHS. Was he into Star Wars?
No, my parents were not into Star Wars.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So it's funny because my friends and stuff meet them, and they're like, so how did this happen?
Yeah.
My parents are like, we have no idea. We
don't know.
It's so similar to what I experienced as well, because mine was also Phantom Menace, and I also got the VHS, which was around that time period, 3 years before Phantom Menace came out. I went to the midnight premiere of Phantom Menace, which was obviously insane. And I turned to my dad and I said, I'm in love with Darth Maul.
He's so cool. All the commercials and everything. We were like, this is epic. And then he dies and you're like, oh. Oh,
It broke my heart.
My
Really
brother was really into Darth Maul also. No, yeah, it's super funny because like for me, and I think I've told this story before, but like my Star Wars experience was so shaped by the fact that my parents liked Star Wars. So we had the original trilogy on Laserdisc. And then we got it on like special edition laser discs with remastered sound. But this was before like the remasters. Like my dad is really, or was for a very long time, really into like collecting movies. Like we had so many laser discs when I was a kid. And so, I used to watch those Star Wars laser discs all the time. Like I can still remember like on the Empire Strikes Back laserdisc, like where you had to flip the laserdisc over to the other side.
Yeah.
It was when Luke was training on Dagobah with Yoda on his back like a backpack.
It's so funny. My mom bought that machine to rewind it really quickly just because it would take too long to rewind. So you put it in, you put it down, and then it rewinds it really quickly. Yeah.
That's amazing. Real quick, I kind of want to be, I asked the same thing to Molly last week as far as like, how are you feeling about the Star Wars stories and the Star Wars stuff that we're getting now?
I am excited to see what's to come. I'm a huge Kenobi fan, so when that was announced, I cried. Like it was one of those like overwhelming experiences that I was like, oh my God, it's coming back. And I didn't even know if you had asked me a day before, like, are you going to cry? I would have been like, no, why? And I was like, yeah, I was so excited. But, other than that, I haven't really gotten to the High Republic yet. I plan to, I just haven't had the time to because there's just so much to get into.
Yeah.
But I've loved The Mandalorian. I can't wait for the Book of Boba Fett. And I was someone that went into it being like, I'm not the biggest Boba Fett fan because the original trilogy, he dies like a chump. I was like, this guy kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then
he looks cool,
now he's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you on that, Lacey. And I mean, obviously, like they gave him more story as a kid in like the Clone Wars animated series. He showed up in the prequels, but he didn't really do anything other than to be like, this is Jango Fett. Here's mini Jango Fett, AKA Boba Fett.
Yeah. Get him, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely was of the same, like, and I also was like, I don't want Boba Fett to come back. Like, just stay out of this, Boba Fett. Like, thank you for your armor and creating one of my favorite, like, cultures in all of Star Wars.
Yes.
But I don't care about Boba Fett. But then, like, he came back in The Mandalorian and the way they did it was amazing. And like he really shone in that episode directed by Robert Rodriguez. And I was like, oh man, like Boba Fett, I'm kind of liking the direction we're going with this character.
I got a Boba fetish now, you know?
Yeah, Boba fetish. I love that.
That's perfect. Yeah. That's really cool. Before we move on, just a quick little favorites. Maybe like a top 5 favorite character.
My favorite characters are Luke Skywalker, Leia, Rey, and Kylo, followed by Kira. I really love Kira.
Really?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Wow, that's the whole Skywalker gang right there.
Well, original trilogy, I grew up with, Luke and Leia.
Sure, yeah.
Especially. But then the new sequel trilogy, Kylo is such a good villain.
He's a really good villain.
Rey just like kicked everybody's butt. And then Kira is something that she stood out to me as someone that's super complicated and willing to do whatever she needs to survive. And since Solo's come out, Resistance Broadcast, we're really big Solo fans over there. Make Solo 2 happen. So, as I've watched Solo over and over and over again, and I've fallen more in love with it, it's just Kira stands out. Her and Infus Nest are just like my favorite parts of that movie.
I would love to see those characters explored more in maybe a series, because I agree with you that like, and especially with Kira, they allude to, she's done all of these things in order to survive, which is so compelling. But they don't like really say what they are. You know what I mean?
You're like, what did she do?
Yeah, and like I want to know, like, did she murder some people? Like, because I'm into it. I'm with it.
Yeah, I love Solo too. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of Solo. Infus Nest. I've written about Infus Nest. I think she's one of the best Star Wars characters. I ranked her as like my top 5, like new Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
As far as like the Disney modern version that we have of now of Star Wars. Because I think she's that good. I think she's that good of a character, even though we only got a little bit of her.
Absolutely.
Last one I have for you, Lacey, is what's one of your favorite Star Wars moments in a theater, whether it be like you saw the scene for the first time, or you experienced it with your friends for the first time, or like a premiere or anything like that? What's a favorite Star Wars theater moment?
I have two. No, I have three. One, Rey grabbing the lightsaber for the first time. That was really meaningful for me because growing up, you never saw a female character grab a lightsaber and be the hero of the story.
Sure.
So that was like a big, impactful moment that you're like, wow, little girls are getting what I've always wanted growing up. Two, Darth Vader just mowing everyone down in Rogue One.
Oh, in Rogue One.
I remember just yelling. Like, I don't even know what happened. It was just like uncontrollable yelling. And then Rey and Kylo, him killing Snoke and then them fighting together.
Yeah.
When he killed Snoke, every time I saw it in the theater, which was like 8 or 9 times, everybody cheered when he killed Snoke. Everyone cheered.
It was
loudly.
Cool.
such a dope moment because
It
you
was.
felt like Snoke had been set up to be the big bad. And then the fact that they just like axe him 3/4 of the way through Last Jedi, it was like, oh, damn, where are we going? I love this.
And it was so well done too, just like the finger swipe thing.
Yeah.
That's what he does, and then he's just dead.
And that moment where Kylo Ren and Rey like look at each other and then they go back to back to fight together. Like I got chills just like thinking about it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so cool. I clearly remember that moment as well, and my theater reacting as well. It's so fun watching it like opening night, midnight premiere type style.
Yeah.
I've seen every Star Wars movie like that ever since The Phantom Menace, and it's never disappointed. It's always been an incredible experience. Emma, do you have one besides that one?
Well, I have very vivid memories of going to see Revenge of the Sith. I remember I like was it was in between my first and second year of college. And so I had gone down to Virginia where I went to school. I was in the DC area because I had a ton of friends that lived there. And so I was like, I think I'd finished doing a show, or maybe we were already in production for the show, but we were only like doing performances on the weekends. So I had time during the week basically to go down. So I went down there and I remember going to see it with one of the girls who ended up being my roommate for my like last 2 years of school when I lived off campus. And I remember we went to the grocery store. Like we had tickets to go to a midnight show. We went to the grocery store because they like, I want to say it was like maybe General Mills cereal had lightsaber spoons that came in their cereal. So I went, and I don't like sugary cereal. Like I love like cardboard cereal or like cardboard adjacent, like Life cereal for life. But
Cinnamon Life is the best.
Oh, it's so good. But I just like, I got like a box of Frosted Flakes just because I wanted to get this damn lightsaber spoon.
Yeah. I remember as a kid when the Star Wars cereal was coming out for Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah.
They had Jango Fett in the front of it, and then they had another one with Obi-Wan Kenobi with the mullet, and the other one. But yeah, I would go out of my way to buy the Star Wars cereal in anticipation for.
And I'm realizing now as I say that it's definitely Kellogg's, because it was definitely Frosted Flakes, and that's a Kellogg's brand. So you know you gotta get your cereal parent companies right, otherwise completely invalid.
Yeah, I feel like every single Star Wars movie of these past 5-6 years have given us some sort of moment.
Yeah.
Whether it be just anticipation or just going with friends or just like lining up to see the movie or. Whatever it may be, I think it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I think back to The Force Awakens because that's the first big one that kind of started it all, where I took the day off of work. And yeah, I took the whole day off just so I could wait in line because the theater I was going to
didn't have assigned seats.
No, it was
because it was early enough
literally-
that wasn't a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the
Correct.
whole prequel trilogy, there were no assigned seats. Like I
Yeah,
remember,
but Force Awakens was the last one until
Was that last one where they
Jedi.
made the
Yeah,
transition?
I saw it at ArcLight though, so
Oh, okay.
we had assigned seats.
There you
Bougie,
go. ArcLight's
bougie
second.
LA theater.
Yeah. But I actually took the day off I was like, and it's like a
wow.
really like intense job, so I couldn't really take too many days off. But I was like, this is the Star Wars, man. I
It's
have to
worth
do
it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I get
my-
that completely.
My current roommate and I, who's currently listening to me, just sat in line the whole, like 11 hours in line.
Oh,
the
man.
whole day to wait for The Force Awakens. So.
Hey, so I remember we saw
Rogue One together.
Yeah, I remember that.
I actually have really vivid memories of seeing Rogue One because I remember because in LA, and I'm sure that this is standard in a lot of places now, but like we basically in LA get movies on the Thursday before they come out. And like at one point it was like East Coast midnight. So they had showings starting at 9 p.m. Now they have showings starting at like 6 p.m.
6
But if 6 here too,
Yeah, 6 or 7. And so I remember I wasn't feeling very well when Rogue One came out. So I didn't go see it on the Thursday. And I remember waking up Friday morning, and I was off work that day because I worked at a theme park for forever and had weird hours. And I think that was during a period of time where I always had Thursdays and Fridays off because I was working a lot of conventions. So it was just easier to only ask for Friday, Saturday, or for Saturday, Sunday. And I woke up and I still was feeling a little bit under the weather. And I was like, I gotta go see this movie right now so nobody spoils it for me.
Yeah. RB3, can you remind Lacey and Emma what part I freaked out for that wasn't the Darth Vader part? I don't know if you remember.
At the very beginning when, no, which part was it?
Come on, man, you know this.
You did freak out. You freaked out at a couple parts. I do remember
Yeah, but I freaked out like real hard.
We talked about this.
I like choked you. I was so excited because I choked you.
I know where I almost stood up and applauded. So
it was the Harrison Dula.
100%. That I literally,
Yes.
I heard.
I literally was like beating the crap out of
on the intercom,
like,
and I was again like I am by myself at the AMC on City Walk, which at this point has already been converted, so all of the theaters have recliner seats. So I'm like chilling at my 10 a.m. screening of Rogue One in a mostly empty theater, and they're like, General Syndulla, report to the briefing room, and I'm not even kidding you. I almost got up and applauded. I
did too,
so excited.
Yeah. I felt like Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or like Sokka watching Ember Island's Players. For anyone who watches that.
Oh yes.
And he's like, yeah. That was me with RB3 when I was grabbing him, and I was like, dude, they said it, and he's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, honestly, I still don't know who that is, so that's probably why I don't remember it.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know who that is, man. And I'm like, what? They said
all right, man. All right.
Yeah, it was amazing. Either way, guys, let's go to the Star Wars news. So if you have that soundbite, RB3, thank you, man.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
So in our news segment, it's not really news because we kind of knew this was coming, but I guess it's back in the news, I guess is a way to put it, where it's the Rian Johnson trilogy. This is something that obviously RB3 is a big proponent of. He's been saying that he wants, there you go, RB3. He's wanted the Rian Johnson trilogy more than any other Star Wars movie there is. And we got this based off Soraya Wilson, who had a conversation with Rian Johnson last night, asked him just straight up, hey, what's going on with this? He said, yes, it's happening. But since there's so much in the works right now, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. They're doing their own thing. And then we'll kind of meet up in the middle when they're ready to start production. I just want to throw the question off to you guys as far as our excitement level. Is it still pretty high for the Rian Johnson trilogy, number one? And then number two, when are we going to see this? I'll start with you, Lacey.
When are we going to see it? That's a tricky question because they announced this in 2017 and we're still getting a...
Yeah.
I did look after... So Soraya paid money for a charity auction to get this conversation with Rian Johnson. She did it off the record.
Okay, yeah.
So we're going by word of mouth here, which I believe...
Literally a tweet.
Yeah, he said this, but I also believe that he's repeating stuff that he's said previously, which is, hey, yeah, it's in development. We're working on it. Back in 2018, Ram Bergman, his producing partner, had said that they'd started working on it and that they would have it probably released in 2 years. Well, here we are. Here we are. That being said, I still really want to see this series. I really like the idea of him having his own trilogy, making his own mark in the Star Wars universe with characters in a place, like he had said, which is completely new.
Yeah.
And when Lucasfilm got purchased by Disney, I remember being excited about what's going to happen. What new stuff are we going to see? And I think The Mandalorian is a perfect example of season one it wasn't really connected to that much, and we were all so pumped to see it. So I am excited at the idea of something that has nothing tied to the Skywalkers, has no baggage, no fan expectations, just completely new. When is it going to happen? I'm not sure, because it is a little weird that they wouldn't bring this up back at the Disney Investor Day back in November, because they mentioned everything else. Like, you wouldn't even just bring it back up and be like, by the way, we're still doing this.
Yeah.
It's just a little weird.
Yeah. What do you think, Emma?
Well, it's interesting because Disney has straight up said that they are making this pivot towards focusing on their streaming platform, Disney Plus. It has been extremely successful. I totally agree with you, Lacey, and I loved The Mandalorian. I like season 1 better than season 2 because it is so very much its own thing. And like, don't get me wrong, like the stuff that was in season 2 of The Mandalorian that featured like Bo-Katan and characters who we've seen in the animated series who haven't been on screen and we haven't seen in live action, that was all really fresh and exciting to me. But like tying it back in a little bit more to the Skywalker saga, which I fully support that decision. It just wasn't as interesting to me. So sure. I think Rian Johnson is a terrific director. I am a huge Last Jedi stan. There are several people in the chat that are Last Jedi naysayers. And you know what? That's totally fine. Your feelings and what you got out of the text is completely valid, because ultimately it is, the concept of death of the author, which nowadays is more frequently applied to people being like, turns out the person who made this thing I liked is a dirtbag, so I'm going to just disconnect them from it. That's not really what Death of the Author is about. What it's really about is disconnecting the authorial intent from the work itself. So if you watch Last Jedi and in your mind it's that, you feel this like anger about the way that things went with Luke Skywalker and you were disappointed in the arc of that character, that is completely valid. It is just as valid as my reading, which is that this is about what happens to a person when you put them up on a pedestal and they have that kind of pressure. So to me, it really humanized Luke, who previously I liked as a character, but I loved in Last Jedi when we really got to see a man who had been through a lot of trauma and was extremely flawed and overcame it and like was the most powerful Jedi we've ever seen. I mean, he like force projects himself and has a fucking dope like lightsaber battle. It was really cool. To me, again, this is completely my reading of it. But at the same time, I do know a lot of people who were frustrated with the choices Rian Johnson made with these characters who they had a previous relationship with, who they were very precious with. Understandably, these are characters you already know and like. You've envisioned future things for them. Maybe you were really into the expanded universe novels. And so you had an idea of what was going to happen with them because of what you read in those books. So that's the thing, is like, whatever your feelings are completely valid. But that being said, even people that were frustrated, I know a lot of them that said, I appreciate Rian Johnson taking risks as a filmmaker. And I am excited to see him do something with characters that I don't have a preconceived notion about.
Yeah, obviously, I want to give a shout out, obviously, to a couple people in the chat. Hector Navarro in the chat says Last Jedi is the best Star Wars film. I think the main thing for me,
it's a great movie for your boy Poe Dameron, Hector. So
yeah,
such a good arc. And I know there's people that are going to be mad at me for saying that. His arc in Last Jedi made me fucking love him. He's like my favorite of the new trilogy characters.
I feel like Rian Johnson's directing is kind of the big selling point, and I want to toss it to RB3 because he's been the biggest proponent of this as a fan of just movies in general.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson movies in general, whether it be Knives Out or Looper or Brick or anything else that he's done. The guy knows how to make a movie. There's no denying that. And whether you like the story beats and story moments of The Last Jedi, I still argue that it's an incredibly well-directed film, like incredibly well-directed. So I'm excited if this does take place. Now, I talked about this with you, Emma, and I'll kind of toss it to you, Lacey. Everything you said, Emma, I want to ask Lacey about the concept of making this a product, another portion of like selling Rian Johnson again to the audience who already made like 20 YouTube channels just creating hatred towards him. You know what I'm saying? Like, when is the time to do this, considering it's still a sore subject for a lot of people to the point that they still get up in arms about just rumors about this? I don't know when you think that maybe that's going to blow over, or do you think there should be a mutual understanding of maybe moving on from this? Lacey.
Oh, me? Sorry. It's a tough scenario for Disney, not because they shouldn't give him the movies, but because at the end of the day, they're there to make money. They're there to make money and show their stakeholders that they can make more money. So if there's something that's controversial with any business, they're going to kind of steer away from it. So you have someone that's done a really good job and made a really good movie. But like Emma put it perfectly, some people didn't like the choices that were made. And even if they did or didn't like the choices, it's got this kind of rain cloud around it. So I don't really know what the timeline would be for those things, because they've only really slated the next 3 movies, which fill those slots that they've announced at this point. So I would assume maybe after those, but it's like when someone has such a strong connection, like Emma was talking about, with someone like a Luke Skywalker, it's really hard for you, or you as in the collective general you.
Yeah, the grand scheme of you.
To get over that. That's a big character for a lot of people, and kind of built into who people are.
100%.
It's a big pop culture person.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard for some people to just say, you know what, I'll give him another chance, because they just see it as like, this is my overall favorite person of all time. And I don't agree with the choice that was made. So it's really hard to decide when they're going to make that choice.
Yeah. That being said, I'd have to Google exactly what the international box office on Last Jedi was. But
he still made tons of money.
An incredibly successful film.
Yes.
As was Rise of Skywalker. So
the whole
it's
sequel
one of those,
trilogy was,
the whole sequel trilogy was. And
Buckets.
also it's like, and Ace and I talk about this all the time, that like there is on the internet, we tend to get into these weird like tunnel vision situations where my Twitter, with based on the words I've muted and things, does a very good job of protecting me from like hate that I don't want to see. Basically, I found the perfect formula for a mute list. Hit me up if you want to know what you should mute on Twitter to have a great time. But basically, I think that some of it is that we end up getting targeted criticism that is very much the same way that we feel. And so we then go, everybody feels the same way that I do. Everybody hates this movie. Or on the opposite side of I don't think there was too much on the opposite side of the spectrum with Last Jedi, because even I, leaving the movie going, holy shit, I loved that. Like, that was bold. The end of the movie happened. I was like, I have no idea where this is going. This is so exciting and invigorating and refreshing to me. This is my relationship with the film. But even that being said, I could look at it and go, oh, some people gonna be mad.
Yeah, the only thing I see, and I'm starting to see Hector kind of popping off in the chat, and I'm kind of with him. I think the problem is the discourse that usually surrounds The Last Jedi, when it comes to the negative side, usually stems from something that's a little darker.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's why, to me, it's like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if I'm listening to you when you say you didn't like it, but part of me has just been so bombarded with so many people who have been in a negative position of just trolling and of just drowning The Last Jedi simply because it wasn't the Luke Skywalker kills 400 soldiers movie. Which to me stems from a point of the whole idea of the sequel trilogy, which is this isn't about Luke Skywalker, it's about Rey. Yeah. And I think a lot of people didn't swallow that pill completely in The Force Awakens, and they were hoping The Last Jedi would just be Luke pops off and Rey is a side character. So to me, I think the discourse that's negatively towards The Last Jedi is just so toxic. Sure. There's no other word to put it, that I feel like it's a little bit unfair towards Rian Johnson and towards people who really enjoyed that movie. Although there's another side to it too, which when it comes to my side of The Rise of Skywalker, but that's a whole different conversation.
Totally. And let me be very clear. Like, if you talk to Rian Johnson about working on Star Wars, as I have seen people do, I was at a screening for Knives Out, and there was a Q&A with Rian Johnson, and somebody asked him about Star Wars. And like, he's so pleasant about it. He's like, I loved working on Star Wars. That was such an incredible experience. And I'm really excited to, continue to explore that universe. And, I think that, there, as you point out, Lacey, like there will be a certain number of people who will not give it a chance because they feel so betrayed by the choices that Rian Johnson made, again, with characters that were very precious to them, very understandably so, because they are characters that they had grown up with and they felt a very strong connection to. So disagreeing with Rian Johnson's choices is completely fine and valid. You are allowed to feel that way, and you're also allowed to feel like, you know what, I'm never giving this guy another chance. That's completely fine if that is how you feel. But I do think that there is a larger percentage of people who go, you know what, didn't like what Rian Johnson did with Last Jedi. Recognize
Star Wars.
Recognize it is a well-made film.
Yes.
Would be curious to see what he would do with Star Wars without characters who I have an emotional attachment to.
I'd also I guess the bottom line here from my point of view is I would just like Disney Lucasfilm to come out and say, yep, it's still happening. It's on track.
Yeah.
Here's a date. Like, just give me that, and then I will feel more confident in my
right. Yeah. If they're like final quarter 2024, then you go, okay,
sure, cool. See you then.
I mean, obviously there's, go ahead, RB3.
Oh, no, I mean, I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, I feel like, I think Rian Johnson's such a great filmmaker. To me, I personally consider him an auteur. Like you said, Andres, between all of his work from Brick, which is a classic indie noir film that was made for $0 and is still super cinematic. And then you go to the Brothers Bloom, to, of course, Looper, which is, I think, one of the top 5 sci-fi films of the past decade.
Excellent.
So he has he's a real auteur, and I think he brought that to Star Wars. And I personally think, as fans are divided and there's fans creating YouTube channels against the film, I think he's probably an artist who thinks, he probably enjoys that to some extent. Like, he probably enjoys the fact that his art is driving conversation and driving discussion and dialogue. Because I'm sure when he made that choice, when he was writing the script for how he was going to portray Luke Skywalker,
he knew people were going to be mad.
Yeah, he did.
He's very smart. He knew people were going to be mad.
Yeah.
But he made a choice, and I believe, and again, this is my relationship with the text, I truly believe he did not make the choice with the intent of pissing people off. He looked at the material and went, okay, what I was left with J.J. Abrams' film was Luke totally isolated on an island. Like, J.J. Abrams put him there, and Rian Johnson had to go, why is he there? Why would he be in a
George also
position?
put him there in early treatments.
Yes. Why would he be alone, isolated on an island? What happened to him? Let's explore the trauma that it does to a person's psyche when you place them on a pedestal and are like, you are the hero. You are the symbol of hope. You go, Luke Skywalker. We're all looking to you to solve our problems.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of layers to it. And I definitely feel like if Rian Johnson was given another shot, I saw some people being like, don't do this because you're just going to get back into the Star Wars discourse, and Rian Johnson doesn't want to be a part of it. But like RB3
he doesn't not want to be part of the Star Wars
That's what
discourse.
I'm saying. Like, he likes it. Like,
he's actively part of it. And also
he likes being a part of Star Wars.
And also, as Hector pointed out in the chat, Rian Johnson actively engages with people. And when people are having an intelligent discourse with criticism, he engages in a way that is critical, not in a way that is trolly. But when people troll him, he shuts that shit down, and it's awesome.
Sure. Yeah,
he does clap back real good.
Yeah, he claps back.
I actually, when it comes to choosing filmmakers, there's so many filmmakers out there to make Star Wars films. Obviously, I'm sure Disney has had many pitches towards them, but I'm sure Rian Johnson's pitch was something unique and special and different. And the way he directs a film, I'll say it again, give him a big budget and regardless of how you feel about the story beats, the direction of that film is incredible.
Yeah.
So here's hoping this happens. I know a lot of people might say no, but I say give it a shot. Why not? Let's move on to the Green Psylocke RB3.
If you'd only had this little green Psylocke.
So our Green Psylocke for today is all about Valentine's Day, which was celebrated a couple days ago. I don't know how you guys celebrated it. I did it with Attack on Titan and alone in my room watching anime. But I wanted to talk about our favorite Star Wars couples. This could be a recent couple. This could be a classic couple. This could be someone you ship. Anything you want to throw out there. I will start with you, Emma, since you seem ready.
So obviously my Star Wars OTP is Kanan and Hera, like absolute best Star Wars couple, healthy adult relationship, amazing communication. When they have the conversation where she says, "You could always see me," freaking just cut me into pieces. And then they have a baby. I love it. But my new Star Wars ship that I really want to happen, and I hope it does in the book of Boba Fett. Okay, well, there's a couple. Obviously, like I love freaking Finn and Poe. What the hell, Lucasfilm? Who cares what China thinks?
I ship that too.
Yeah, Finn and Poe are a couple, and they played it as a couple in Rise of Skywalker. They just did.
Agreed.
But my new ship that I really want to happen is Fennec Shand and Bo-Katan, because like, did you see the eye contact that they made in that episode where they were like, "Lady team up, let's go"? I want it to happen. So that's my new Star Wars ship is Bo-Katan and Fennec Shand. I don't know what you'd call that. What their ship name would be.
Fatan?
Yeah, maybe Bonic.
I don't know.
Anyway,
it's a tough one. Lacey, how about you?
So if this was before the Rise of Skywalker, I would have said probably Reylo, because I really liked the idea of Rey and Kylo getting together. But I'm
hearing rumors that that's what Rian Johnson intended. So
I know, because the kiss, it was like half in, half out. Like, are we doing this? Are we not? In the Rise of Skywalker, so I didn't really. It kind of just, I don't know. I was like,
oh, all right,
yeah. So I'm gonna just go with the original Han and Leia. I love how they started off, you know, hating each other and then enemies to lovers type thing, and they have a very complicated relationship, but at the end of the day, they always love each other.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Man.
I do love Finn and Poe though, and I was so angry that it happened because everything about them made sense.
It made perfect sense.
Yeah.
It was the perfect opportunity for them to just like really organically have a gay couple in Star Wars.
Yeah, and they could have been the Han and Leia of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
like that could have been the great love story that we could have gotten.
I agree with that.
We were robbed.
Okay, so you guys have to pick one. Okay. Are you gonna go Anakin and Padme, or Satine and Obi-Wan?
Satine and Obi-Wan, like any day of the week.
I watch Revenge of the Sith on Sunday, and Padme and Anakin, they're just the worst. Like, how did that happen?
They have no. Yeah. I mean, it's way better in Clone Wars. You like get why they are into each other, but like. In the films, and some of it is just like, you know, and I'm not trying to hate on the prequels. There's a lot of things that I like.
The dialogue's a little clunky.
The dialogue is clunky. Mostly what I like about the prequels is what they added to Star Wars lore, which was all done better in Clone Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Did anyone screen test Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen together on screen? Because they do not have any chemistry at all. Like,
you could see it in the Attack of the Clones behind the scenes.
Their romance is like literally like watching paint dry. Like, actually watching paint dry might be more romantic, depending.
Damn.
And it just doesn't make sense in the case of who she is as a character, the way she acts in Revenge of the Sith, which is really what bothered me, because I was like, not only is she not the strong character we meet in the first two movies, with the exception of the Senate scene. But then, like, her dying at the end doesn't really make sense, because you're telling me a woman like that would leave her kids behind just because.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. But yeah, that couple.
I didn't buy that she would die of
This is just a
sadness.
mess. This is just a mess. These two. I don't like it.
There's this K-drama that I love called Scarlet Heart Rio, and the romance, the like main romance in it feels to me like what the Padme and Anakin romance should have been, where you are like, oh, you are rooting for them every step of the way. And then just as their lives go in different directions and like, it really can't work anymore. And like the way it ends is tragic. And
like
she
Han
also,
and Kira.
right, exactly. And she like also, also has a baby and dies of sadness in this series. But like, you're like, oh, nope. I get it. It makes sense. And like, she fucking fought. She tried. And you feel like Padme just like gave up.
She was just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Ooh-bah.
Yeah, it's every time you look back at the Attack of the Clones scene, it's one of my favorite parts of doing the Schmodown, watching Attack of the Clones and studying for it. Because that scene where every time I watch it, I feel like
when she moves back.
No, it's the one.
There it is.
And he touches her back, and you're like, ew, stop. Yeah, stop touching her.
No, not that scene. I'm talking about the scene.
They also should not have like introduced him as a child and then
True.
That, I mean, there's nothing like, girl, get it. Like, I'm all for like robbing the cradle when everyone's
good old 9-year-old
consenting adults. When everyone's
consenting 9-year-old.
No, when everyone's consenting adults.
Lacey's like, I'm out, y'all.
I'm for Cougar Padme, but like. The problem is like we met him as an actual child and like it was Natalie Portman the whole time.
It was.
So yeah, it's just like,
it's the one where she's wearing the crazy super tight dress and he's giving
she
his...
scoots backwards.
Oh my God, Ryan.
That one.
Ryan Thompson in chat says Padme leaves her apartment like one time in episode 3.
Yeah.
Seriously, just for that Senate hearing to sit off to the side and wait for him to kiss her. And I was like, she's just chilling. She has nothing better to do.
There's nothing to do. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how true this is, but I think I read somewhere that George Lucas had a real problem with Natalie Portman's treatment of Keira Knightley on set. On episode.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I have heard.
I think that's in.
I love Keira Knightley.
Yeah, she was the other. She was the backup Padme, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Sabacc, yeah.
She was, yeah.
So apparently there was some misbehavior on set, and George Lucas like significantly reduced her role. So that's what I read somewhere.
But either way, I feel like that scene is the scene that kind of sums it all up. Where the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, whoa. He's like, I'm in agony. You're tormenting me in my soul, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
and like,
that sounds
you sit
awful.
there and you're like, if any dude ever said this to me, what would I do? I'd be like, I'm out. Bye.
Please go back to Hot Topic where you came from. Like,
yeah, it's a little much. I would say Hera and Kanan as well. That's probably my favorite, if I'm being honest.
It's such a great, and also like, what's New Dawn is the book where you find out how they met, and just like, oh my God, when he first sees her and is like, that voice, I want it. Like, just like he's so into her from minute one and is just like fully like, well, damn, I was trying to lay low, but I met this like aspirational badass and now I guess I'm in this. Like, oh, so good. I love Kanan and Hera.
Yeah. Let's go to Full Sabacc.
Okay.
Full Sabacc.
So our Full Sabacc for today is all about Cara Dune. Apparently she is not being recasted. This has been thrown around for the past day and a half as far as like she's being recast. She's not being recast. She's in Rangers of the New Republic. She's not in Rangers of the New Republic. She was going to be, but now she's not. Who knows? That whole thing's kind of been weird. I just kind of want to get your guys' quick reaction as far as her not being officially recast in the show and just simply being written out, whether it be for Rangers or whether it be for Mandalorian season 3, because we still haven't heard news for Mandalorian season 3 officially. So I'll start with you, Emma.
Well, it's interesting because obviously, like, even when people were tossing around ideas about who should replace her as Cara Dune, and, you know, they brought up things like the character of Dariana Harris in Game of Thrones, where he was just recast in between seasons and he looked nothing like, you know what I mean? Like they just like really were like, yeah, we're going to cast this other dude who we think is going to be great in this role. So like
Don Cheadle's another one, like completely different.
Completely, 100%.
Like, okay.
You're just like, all right, cool. Yeah, I think we left Cara in a place where we can very easily just not see her again. And we don't really need to justify it. It's like she kind of served her purpose and moved on. We can have other characters like that are not her. Like that's the thing that's great about having this sort of TV universe of Star Wars is it gives us the opportunity to create and introduce new characters and that can serve a similar role while not being the same character. Like there's nothing saying, because one of the names that I know definitely was being thrown out there in terms of people. So first of all, I saw some people saying like, well, to be fair, Michelle Rodriguez should have been Cara Dune from the beginning, and like Michelle Rodriguez would be dope. Other people suggested perhaps Lucy Lawless, who's a complete badass. And like, I would love to see Lucy Lawless in a role like Cara Dune in Star Wars, but it doesn't have to be Cara. You know what I mean? Like she could also be like a super badass brawler type lady. And she'd bring more gravitas to the role because she's a better actor.
Yeah. Lacey, what do you think of this whole thing of not recasting her?
I'm not surprised. First of all, this feels like it's been like a year since this happened. It's been less than a week. Because it's just been a very long week. I actually, because on our show, we were talking about this last week and I had brought up Michelle Rodriguez, not knowing other people had, because it's just an obvious choice because of Fast and Furious. She already plays that kind of role. I did see Lucy Lawless, which was another good option. I think the better idea is what Emma said, which is just come up with a new character. You already have Casca Reeves, you already have Bo-Katan, you already have those characters in the show, and even Fennec Shan too. Like, killing it. Give her a bigger role. Give someone else a bigger role.
Totally.
You don't need Cara Dune.
And on top of that, it is a very smart decision to not recast that role, because whoever you recast in that role is going to immediately be the subject of some ire from the people who are supporters of She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I thought about that too, where a lot of people were very easily
that's right.
recasting Cara Dune, but they didn't keep in mind that if they do, whoever that actress is probably going to get so much abuse online and so much hatred. That it will be a lot for them to deal with, regardless of how happy they are to be in Star Wars. I think that's something to keep in mind. I think that's very significant, to be honest, considering the world we live in now and considering the Star Wars fandom that is known for that. So, I feel like this is a simple solution. My only question, and this is a question that I had presented to RB3 last week, was the idea of them maybe not even doing a Mandalorian season 3 and just being like, we never even did it because we just moved on from the story. So we didn't even have any stories left for Cara Dune.
I mean, again, like they definitely, the way Mandalorian season 2 ended, it doesn't need a season 3 per se. There's definitely big storylines that have been left as open threads, but we already know that Ahsoka Tano is getting her own series. So some of those will be resolved in that story for sure. And then there is the Boba Fett series. So that leaves some room to resolve some of these stories and all of these other series where it's like, yeah, we can resolve what exactly happened on Mandalore during the rebellion, that the, planet became even worse off than it already was. And most of the Mandalorians were living in hiding, et cetera, et cetera. What exactly is the purge that Bo-Katan brings up? But like, again, we have all these other series where we can explore that. So maybe the Mandalorian's just done.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, Jon Favreau already wrote season 3, like August, September. So he would, first of all, if it has Cara Dune in it, he's going to have to rewrite it anyway.
But I some rewriting.
See him just rework those storylines into those other shows, like you said.
Totally.
Because he is working with Dave Filoni on those other shows and Rangers of the New Republic. They'll just rework it. And I'm sure the creative geniuses of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni can really figure it out. Just give Carson Teva his own show.
Right.
There you go. Cool. Let's quickly go to the POC spotlight that I have. So every week, Lacey, just so you know, we have a spotlight towards a POC Star Wars character. I did it on a very minor character this week. His name is Statura. Shout out to Statura from The Force Awakens, played by Ken Leung. This is an actor. I think he's on Lost. This is a question that
probably.
I got wrong. I missed this question, by the way.
Is he thermal oscillator guy?
That's it. That's him.
That guy.
Got this thermal oscillator over here.
It's just thermal oscillator.
He sat 2 rows in front of me on a plane once.
Oh, nice.
Dude,
my claim to fame.
He's in a show called Industry on HBO. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Oh, I've never seen it.
I saw the preview for that pop up. I've been meaning to watch that.
He is insane in that show. Like completely blew me away. He is not Satora. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to him and the actor. Even if it's a small bit role, I think it's pretty cool.
But this is the thing, is it is significant, even if it is a small bit role, because it just shows. And I mean, granted, when Gina Davis was talking about it, she was very specifically talking about having more women in prominent roles, or just in roles in general in film and television, where it's like, hey, just like remove the gender from every background character and then it can be a woman and it doesn't matter. It's the same thing with like, hey, yeah, this is a background character, but like it makes a lot of sense to just like have people of color because like that's what the world looks like. And that's also what the Star Wars world looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate it. I'll never forget that question ever again in Star Wars. Thanks to me missing it in the showdown. Let's go to Squad Up and finish up with that. So this week's Squad Up, guys. So Squad Up, Lacey, I briefly told you what it was. It's basically a quick game of like pick your team or pick whatever situation you're in. This week, we have a very special pod racer edition of Squad Up. So you are a pod racer in the Bunta Eve Classic. You've been given the honor to participate in the legendary race, and your race promoter has a few things for you to select in order to get the most out of this opportunity. First things first, number 1, you have to name your pod racer. The best pod racers have badass names, so name yours so that your competitions knows who they're messing with. Number 2, you're going to select a representative to be your flag bearer. This is someone who you trust and who you feel best represents you. Number 3, you will pick your pod color, a color that shows off your personality. Number 4 is a fun one because number 4, you're going to be able to place a bet or not place a bet. So right before the race started, your promoter asked you if you wanted to bet that if you won the race, you would get a VCX 100. But if you don't win, he's going to take away your pod.
Dang.
So you could either be confident, place that bet, get your VCX 100 and win the winnings of the race and keep your pod, or get second place or third or lose, and you're going to end up losing your pod and you won't get any ship anyway. So that's up to you if you want to place that bet. And then finally, the last portion I have is a little promo. You're going to do a quick 15-second promo. You're being interviewed by Fodes and Bede, best announcers on Tatooine. And you're going to let the crowd know who you are and what's up and what's coming in that race.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with you, Emma.
Oh, God.
Anywhere you want to take me. Do you want to take me as far as name your pod racer, color? Let me know.
Okay. Well, I know that my representative, the person that I want hyping me up, because this is like, we can just go anywhere in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the correct choice, you got to go Poe Dameron, because like somebody who like just like has that much like unabashed confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
Like that's maybe a little unwarranted, but like there's a hint of truth to it. Like Poe Dameron's definitely my hype man. what color is my pod racer going to be? It's definitely it's like Iron Man colors. You know what I mean? Like we've got like a sick
Hot
like
rod.
red, with like yellow gold flashes on it. Because that says like speed and dynamism. That's right. Okay, what else do I need?
You need to name your pod racer.
I need to name my pod racer. My pod racer's name is Flash Dozer. Because it's like Flash, like speedy, but then like Dozer, like a bulldozer. Like, listen, you just get out of the way, or like I'm just gonna go straight on through you, man.
Yeah. Now, are you going to place a bet? Are you confident that you're going to win?
Oh, are you kidding me? Poe Dameron is on my side. Like, and this guy's name is fucking Flash. I'm definitely placing the bet.
Okay, Emma. So last things last. You are being interviewed right now by Frozen B. We have Emma Fyffe in the house representing for the Boonta Eve Classic. Emma, what can people expect from you in this race?
So my competitor, Flash Dozer, is the fastest pilot you've ever seen in the Boonta Eve Classic. He blasted through all of the time trials and made the second heat run in record time. Nothing can stop this man. And if anybody gets in his way, you better watch out, because you will not be finishing this race.
I hate to put you on the spot, Lacey, but Lacey, it's your turn.
All right. I would name my pod racer Blue Harvest because it's just a sweet name.
Oh, I love that.
My representative would be Han Solo because he can talk his way out of anything.
That's a great choice.
Every time.
Very good choice.
My pod color, obviously blue. I'd probably pick something with like geometric shapes because that's like really right now. Maybe some gold.
Yeah.
Would I bet? Yeah, because Han Solo would never not bet.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
true.
yeah, I'll take the bet. And addressing the crowd, I would just let Han Solo give the interview. I wouldn't.
You don't have any words for your fellow competitors, Lacey? Any words?
I'm too good. I don't have to give an interview.
Oh, damn.
Boonta Eve. All right, it's my turn. I'm going to have my pod racer be silver. Really nice.
I like that.
Sleek silver, and I'll call it.
Are you talking like Chrome? Like Naboo ships?
Yeah, why not? And it's going to be called the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
References are going to be over people's heads at the Boonta Eve Classic.
True.
I'm going to bet on myself because I want that VCX 100. It's quality ship. And then what else did I have? Oh, my flag bearer. It's going to be the tallest homie I know, the coolest one I know, best partner anyone can have, Chewbacca. I'm wearing his shirt right now.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Literally wearing a Chewie shirt. I'm a Chewie stan. Yep.
Oh, there it is.
He's repping me. And my promo is going to be, watch out, because the Silver Surfer is going to surf his way to the finish line. And I know you don't know what surfing is because they don't have this on this planet. But I'm telling you, that's how fast I am because I'm the Silver Surfer, man.
Yay!
There we go, guys. So anyone in the chat, I kind of want to hear if anyone has a name for their pod or not.
Listen, you got to vote for Chewbacca.
Yeah, Chewbacca's great. RB3, you have one?
I really don't. This one's a little too inside baseball for me. I don't know why, so.
Inside baseball.
You okay? It's okay. You got this.
Any super chats or any Streamlabs that we have?
We do have Streamlabs that came in, and people, and we really got to start saying this at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out one day. But if people want to contribute to the show, you can donate $5 plus. To firstcut.live. Firstcut.live. It really supports the show, keeps us going. $5 plus donations will be read out loud by our fancy little droid robot. You know, we gotta come up with a name. Is it like a CP20 or I don't know? But we do have a couple of donations that did come in, so here we go.
Torres donated $5. What's up, guys? The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. Really excited to hear it is still happening. I want this trilogy more than any other project in Hollywood.
Oh,
that's great to hear.
I hope it happens to you.
I hope that happens too. I love it.
Do we have another one?
Yes, we do. Give me 1 second.
His name was Taurus. Hi, Taurus. That's a great name.
Yeah, thank you, Taurus.
5W49 donated $5. Sabacc the block BAEB. Keep shining, my friends.
Hey, shout out. That was actually our boy Winston Marshall. Winston Marshall.
Oh, thanks, Winston.
Looking out. Yeah, so we have Winston donating. We had Hector in the chat. We have a good collection of people supporting it.
Yeah.
If you love this program,
fun.
be sure to hit that like button. Hitting the like button. If you can't contribute to the show, at least hit the like button. That really helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Lacey, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely.
This was awesome. This was a
blast. Thank you so much for having me. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Where can everyone find you?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gilleran. Pretty straightforward.
Awesome. And the Resistance broadcast?
Yep, and the Resistance broadcast. Sorry. I never know how much people are like, go ahead, plug, don't plug. You can find me on the Resistance broadcast every Monday and Thursday as the official podcast of StarWarsNewsNet.com. You can find us at RBATSWNN on Twitter. And of course, we're wanting a Solo 2, so hashtag make Solo 2 happen.
Woo!
There you go. Emma Fyffe.
I am all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe. You can find me hosting The Download on Ven.tv every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time with a rebroadcast at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And also the VODs live on Ven.tv as well as on the Ven Download YouTube channel. I should have a video that I am very excited about dropping on Thursday. And speaking of Thursdays, you can always find me on my Twitch channel on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time for Thirst Day, where I make cocktails and play otome games, which are Japanese dating sims. Last week, Queen Victoria showed up with a very strong bee motif, and we adopted Dracula. So things are going great.
There you go. RB3, where can everyone find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3. You can find First Cut here on YouTube and on Twitch and on all social media platforms at First Cut TMO. And be sure to check out our Patreon. We have a lot of great stuff coming up this week, including an exclusive live stream that's going to be airing right after our First Cut Live. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm at Squad Leader Ace. Everything RB3 said, subscribe to First Cut if you haven't done so already. We have a Patreon if you want to check that out as well. Thank you so much to our guest, Lacey. This was really cool. And RB3, thank you for doing everything behind the scenes, man. We really do appreciate you, man. Either way, guys, for the Sabacc the Block crew, we are peacing out. Peace.